On to the daily DVAR halacha, and here's a brand new halacha for you, and it is for Tuesday, the 31st day of March. Here we go. Today I want to give you the halacha about quinoa. Now, there's two types of people probably listening to this. There are people who know all about quinoa and don't need to hear a word from me on it, and they're experts. And there are probably those of you who don't know what it is and don't care, and you won't be interested in this halacha. But nevertheless, I'm going to forge on through and say it and give you all the details for all the different types listening. Quinoa, if you ever wanted to look it up, like in Wikipedia or something, you would not recognize its spelling. It looks like it's quinoa, Q-U-I. N-O-A, quinoa. We all pronounce it quinoa, and it's a type of food that has become pretty interesting with regards to Pesach eating, and I'll tell you why. As we explained to you in an earlier halacha, Ashkenazi Jews don't eat kitnios. Those are foods that could be confused with chametz-type items or mixed in with chametz-type items, and therefore Ashkenazi Jews won't eat things like rice, corn, etc. You probably already know that. Now then, quinoa, which has really been around for a long, long time, growing mostly in South America and countries like Chile, Peru, I have cheat notes here, Bolivia, Ecuador, and Colombia, all those kinds of countries in the high mountain areas, like I think it originated in the Andean mountains, if I'm saying that right. All those kinds of mountainous areas were growing for a long time this special superfood called quinoa. Very healthy. It is clearly not a chametz type of food. It looks like little seeds, and when you cook it up, it could look like rice, but is categorically not one of the grains that we call chametz, like oats or barley or or any of those. It's clearly in a category that's different, and it's outside of the category of chametz, and it's just like you would be happy eating green peppers or something like that on Pesach. This is way outside of the category of chametz and should be totally just allowed for Pesach, even though when you cook it up, it's going to look like rice. But kosher organizations have been hesitant to allow it to be considered free for use for Pesach because there were some problems. People were not convinced that there wasn't cross-contamination and other things being mixed in, not only possibly in the growing of it, but even in the way it was stored and the way it was transferred and the way it was moved around and cultivated and everything. They were afraid that the pieces of grains could be mixed in with the quinoa, and therefore a lot of organizations were hesitant to say, go ahead and use quinoa for Pesach, even though it's healthy and it's a wonder food and it could replace rice for you and it would be wonderful to eat, but they weren't sure whether to allow it because of the small confusion around it, and could it still be mixed up with something that seems kitnios-like and cause the same old problem that kitnios causes. So most kosher organizations were hesitant over the last few years, but the OU, which is the parent of NCSY, has now cleared it totally with a hechsher. If it has an OUP on it, then it is cleared for Pesach use. That means it has been checked out in every which way, including checking whether there are grains that somehow got mixed in with it in the packaging. If you see an OUP on a package of quinoa, you can absolutely, of course, use it for Pesach because it has been checked to be free of all problems. It's a very healthy food. I'm scared to tell you whether it's called a vegetable or not, because I don't know the exact botany of the matter, but I just know it's clearly outside of the bounds of chametz. It's clearly a very healthy food, rich in a lot of good nutrients. Let's just say that. It tastes healthy, but when cooked up with onions or other delicious tasting things, it's fantastic, and it replaces rice. And with an OUP, it's absolutely totally viable for Pesach, so please go right ahead and use it if you're buying it with an OUP on it. For your interest, found this also on Wikipedia. In 2013, it was called by the United Nations the International Year of Quinoa. That's because it's just a food that can be grown. It's a hardy food. It grows well. It can be, it's strong. It's good for the body. And the United Nations, if you respect that organization, had declared 2013 the Year of Quinoa. Okay, that's not a piece of Torah. It's just a very interesting fact. So with an OUP, go right ahead and use that and enjoy it, and it will replace rice for you. To all Sfard people listening to this who happily eat rice the whole Pesach, well, I guess you don't need quinoa as badly, but it's still recommended for you too. Very, very healthy and tasty when cooked properly. Enjoy. Thanks for logging on. Log on again tomorrow for more. Bye-bye.